I was staring at my phone at 1:47 a.m., watching my hands shake so badly I could barely hold it steady. My daughter Lily, just 5 years old, was burning up with a fever of 104.3, and she kept crying that her stomach hurt so much she couldn't move. I'd already called the pediatric advice nurse, and her words were still echoing in my head. Get her to the ER now. Those symptoms could indicate appendicitis. If it ruptures, it's life-threatening. My husband Marcus was on a work trip in Chicago, already at the airport trying to get on the next flight home, but that wouldn't be for another 6 hours at minimum. Lily needed to get to the hospital right now, and I couldn't leave our 3-year-old son Tyler alone in the apartment. He was sound asleep in his toddler bed, completely oblivious to the chaos unfolding. I'd already tried our regular babysitter, but she was visiting family in Portland. Our neighbor Mrs. Chin was out of town for her daughter's wedding. The emergency childcare service I found online had a 2-hour wait time. 2 hours we didn't have. So I did what I thought any daughter would do in a crisis. I called my mom. The phone rang 4 times before she picked up. Emma? What's wrong? Her voice was alert, which meant she wasn't sleeping either. Mom, I need help. Lily has a really high fever and severe abdominal pain. The nurse said to get her to the ER immediately. It might be appendicitis. Marcus is stuck in Chicago, and I can't leave Tyler alone. Can you please come stay with him? I know it's late, but I'm really scared. There was a pause. A long one. Emma, honey, I don't think I can make it right now. Your father and I are actually in Portland with Lucas, my younger brother. Of course. Portland? That's 3 hours away. Mom, this is an emergency. Lily could have appendicitis. The nurse said if it ruptures. I understand that, sweetie, but we're here for Lucas's big presentation tomorrow morning. He's pitching to those investors he's been talking about for months, the ones who could fund his whole app development company. We promised we'd be here to support him. I felt something cold settle in my chest. You're 3 hours away supporting Lucas's business pitch while my 5-year-old daughter might have a ruptured appendix? Don't be dramatic, Emma. Appendicitis is very treatable. They do those surgeries all the time. I'm sure by the time we'd even get there, she'd already be in good hands with the doctors. There's really nothing we could do that the hospital staff can't do better. I need someone to watch Tyler, Mom. I can't take a 3-year-old to the ER in the middle of the night and leave him in a waiting room for hours. I need you to come stay with him at the apartment. Please, Emma. Her voice took on that tone. The one I'd heard my entire life whenever I asked for something that inconvenienced her. Your father and I drove all the way up here yesterday. We're exhausted, and Lucas is counting on us being at this pitch. This could change his entire career trajectory. Surely you can figure something out. Can't you call Marcus's mother? Diane had hip replacement surgery 2 weeks ago. She can't drive or lift anything. Well, what about that friend of yours? The one from college? Which friend, Mom? I haven't kept in touch with most of them because I've been busy raising 2 kids while working full-time. There's no need to get snippy with me. I'm just trying to help you think of solutions. The solution is you getting in the car and driving here. Mom, please. I'm begging you. This is Lily. Your granddaughter. Another pause. Emma, I really think you're catastrophizing. Kids spike fevers all the time. Give her some Tylenol and see how she is in a few hours. If she's still bad in the morning, take her to urgent care. We'll be back tomorrow evening and we can come check on her then. I couldn't breathe. I literally could not get air into my lungs. Are you seriously telling me to wait until morning while my daughter is screaming in pain with a 104-degree fever? I'm telling you that you need to learn to handle things without always calling us in a panic. You're 32 years old, Emma. You have a husband and 2 children. You need to be more self-sufficient. We can't drop everything every time you have a minor crisis. This isn't a minor crisis. This is my child potentially having a surgical emergency. And I'm sure the doctors will take excellent care of her. Emma, we really need to get some sleep. Lucas's presentation is at 9. I'll call you tomorrow to check in, okay? I love you. She hung up. I sat there on Lily's bedroom floor, listening to my daughter whimper in pain, and I couldn't move. My mother had just refused to help me during a medical emergency because she didn't want to inconvenience herself for my brother's business pitch. I tried calling my older sister Victoria next. She lived 45 minutes away in Bellevue. Do you know what time it is? Victoria answered, her voice sharp with irritation. Vic, I need your help. Lily has to go to the ER right now, possible appendicitis. Marcus is out of town, and I need someone to stay with Tyler. Mom and Dad are in Portland with Lucas. Can you please come? Emma, I have a huge deposition at 8 a.m. I've been prepping for this case for 3 months. I need to be sharp tomorrow, which means I need sleep. Can't you just call a babysitting service? I did. They have a 2-hour wait. Lily doesn't have 2 hours. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I can't sacrifice my entire career because you don't have a backup plan. This is a really important case. Like, partnership track important. Victoria, she's 5 years old and she might need emergency surgery. And I'm sure she'll be fine. Kids are resilient. Look, I really can't help tonight. Maybe try posting in one of those neighborhood Facebook groups? I'm sure someone would be willing to help for like $50 or something. I have to go. Good luck. She hung up too. I looked at Lily. Her little face was flushed and tear-streaked, her breathing shallow. She was clutching her stuffed bunny and looking at me with complete trust, believing that I could fix this. I had one more call to make. One I hadn't made in almost 4 years. Jessica and I had been roommates in college. We'd been inseparable for 3 years, best friends who told each other everything. But after graduation, life got busy. She'd moved to Denver for a job in graphic design. I'd stayed in Seattle. Gotten married. Had kids. We'd texted occasionally, liked each other's Instagram posts, but we'd fallen out of touch the way people do. The last time I'd actually talked to her was 3.5 years ago when I'd sent her Lily's birth announcement. She'd sent a lovely card and a baby gift. I'd meant to call and thank her properly. I'd meant to stay in touch. But I'd been drowning in new motherhood and life and I just hadn't. I didn't even know if she'd answer a call from me at 2 a.m. But I was out of options. I found her number in my contacts and pressed call, feeling like the worst friend in the world for only reaching out when I was desperate. She answered on the second ring. Emma? Oh my God, Emma, are you okay? Her voice was so familiar, so warm, that I immediately started crying. Jess, I'm so sorry to call you like this. I know we haven't talked in forever and I'm the worst friend ever, but I don't know what else to do. My daughter Lily is really sick. Possible appendicitis. I need to get her to the ER right now, but Marcus is stuck in another city and I can't leave Tyler alone and my family won't help and I just... Where are you? Seattle, right? You're still in Seattle? Yes, Green Lake area, but Jess, I'm not asking you to. I'm looking at flights right now. There's one leaving at 3:30 a.m. I can be there by 6. Can you wait until 6? I couldn't speak. I literally couldn't form words. Emma? Are you there? Jess, you're in Denver. That's... You can't just drop everything and fly here at 3 in the morning. Watch me. I'm booking it right now. Take Lily to the ER. I'll go straight to your place from the airport. Text me your address and the door code. Do you still have that hide key under the planter by your front door? How do you remember that? Because you told me about it when you first moved in and I teased you that it was the most obvious hiding spot ever. Is it still there? Yes. Perfect. I'll let myself in. Tyler will probably still be asleep when I get there. If he wakes up before I arrive, can you have a neighbor sit on your couch for like 20 minutes until I get there? Mrs. Kowalski across the hall. She's elderly, but she's a light sleeper. She'd do it. Okay. Get Lily to the hospital. I'm packing right now. And Emma? It's going to be okay. She's going to be okay. I was full-on sobbing now. I'm so sorry I haven't been a better friend. I should have called more. I should have visited. I should have. Stop. We're going to have plenty of time to catch up while I'm there. Right now, you need to get your daughter to the hospital. Text me the address. I'll see you in a few hours. She hung up, and I just sat there on the floor, crying so hard I couldn't see. Jessica, who I hadn't properly talked to in almost 4 years, was booking a red-eye flight at 2 a.m. to help me. Meanwhile, my mother, my father, and my sister, people who lived within 3 hours' drive, had all refused because I was inconveniencing them. I got Mrs. Kowalski to sit in my living room while I bundled Lily up and got her to the car. The ER was only 15 minutes away, but it felt like hours. Lily kept crying that her tummy hurt, and I kept telling her the doctors were going to help her feel better soon. At the hospital, everything moved fast once I explained her symptoms. They got her in for examination immediately, and the doctor confirmed what I'd feared: acute appendicitis. They needed to operate within the next few hours before it ruptured. I signed the consent forms with shaking hands while trying to call Marcus. He finally answered from the airport. "I'm on the next flight out. I'll be there by 9. "How is she?" "They're taking her in for surgery." "Marcus, I'm so scared." "She's going to be fine. They do these surgeries all the time." "You're doing great, Em. You got her there in time. That's what matters." After we hung up, I sat in the surgical waiting room and checked my phone. It was 5:47 a.m. Jessica had texted me a photo of herself at SeaTac Airport with a coffee cup, captioned, "Landed. On my way to you. Tyler is safe with Mrs. Gay." I texted back, "Yes, thank you. I can't believe you're here. Where else would I be? Give Lily a hug from me when she wakes up." The surgery took 45 minutes. The doctor came out and told me they'd gotten the appendix out just in time. It had been on the verge of rupturing. Another hour or two and it could have been catastrophic. I thought about my mother telling me to give Lily some Tylenol and wait until morning. I thought about Victoria saying kids are resilient. I thought about both of them sleeping peacefully in Portland and Bellevue while my daughter was in surgery. And I thought about Jessica, who'd probably gotten maybe an hour of sleep, currently sitting in my apartment with a toddler she'd never met, making sure he was safe while I dealt with this crisis. When they let me in to see Lily in recovery, she was groggy but awake. She looked so small in that hospital bed, with an IV in her little hand and monitors beeping around her. "Mommy," she said weakly. "The doctors fixed my tummy." "They did, baby. They fixed it. You're so brave. Can we go home now?" "Not yet. You need to rest here for a bit." "But soon." Marcus arrived at 9:30, rushing into the room and immediately going to Lily's bedside. We just held each other for a minute, both of us trying not to cry in front of her. "Your friend Jessica is at the apartment," he said quietly. I stopped by there first. Tyler was having breakfast and watching cartoons with a stranger like it was the most normal thing in the world. "She seems really nice. She flew from Denver at 3 in the morning." Marcus pulled back and looked at me. "What?" "Jessica. She took a red-eye flight from Denver because I called her in a panic at 2 a.m. I thought your mom was coming." She said no. She and Dad are in Portland for Lucas's investor pitch. Didn't want to drive 3 hours. I watched his face change. "She what?" Victoria said no to. "Big deposition today." Marcus's jaw clenched. He didn't say anything, but I could see him processing this information, filing it away. The hospital wanted to keep Lily overnight for observation. I stayed with her while Marcus went home to relieve Jessica and take care of Tyler. But at 2 p.m., there was a knock on the hospital room door. Jessica walked in carrying a bag from the bakery down the street from my apartment, the one that made the croissants I'd been obsessed with in my 3rd trimester with Tyler. "I figured you hadn't eaten," she said simply. I started crying again. "You're supposed to be at my apartment with Tyler. Marcus is home. Tyler's napping. I thought you could use some company. And breakfast. Or lunch. Whatever meal this counts as." She sat down in the chair next to me, and we ate croissants while Lily slept. We didn't talk about the fact that I'd been a terrible friend for 4 years. We didn't talk about all the life updates we'd missed. We just sat there together, and it felt like no time had passed at all. "Your family didn't come," she said finally. It wasn't a question. "No. Do they know she had surgery?" I texted the family group chat this morning after she got out. Said she was okay but had to have emergency appendectomy. "What did they say?" I pulled out my phone and showed her. "Mom, oh thank goodness she's all right. We knew she'd be fine. The doctors are wonderful. Give her a kiss from Grandma." Lucas's pitch went amazing, by the way. The investors loved it. "Victoria, glad she's okay. Kids bounce back so fast." My deposition went great too. Might actually make partner this year. "Dad, so happy to hear she's on the mend. Modern medicine is remarkable. Tell her Grandpa loves her." Lucas hadn't responded at all. Jessica stared at the phone. They didn't apologize. No. They didn't ask if you needed anything. No. They just moved right past it. That's what they do. Jessica was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, Emma, I need to ask you something, and I want you to really think about it before you answer. Is this the first time they've done something like this? I didn't answer right away because I was thinking. Really thinking. There was the time I'd had Tyler and needed help with Lily, but Mom and Dad were at Lucas's college graduation ceremony in California. They'd come to visit 2 weeks later, after I was already handling 2 kids on my own and didn't need help anymore. There was the time I'd had postpartum depression so bad I couldn't get out of bed, and Victoria had told me I needed to snap out of it because she was tired of me being so negative. There was the time Marcus and I had needed emergency childcare so we could both attend his father's funeral, and Mom had said she couldn't skip her book club because she was hosting. There was the time I'd asked my family for help moving to our current apartment, and they'd all been busy, but they'd shown up in force when Lucas needed help moving into his new condo downtown. There was the time I'd gotten really sick with the flu when Tyler was a newborn, and I'd asked Victoria to drop off some groceries, and she'd said she couldn't because she had a yoga class. And there was the money. God. There was so much money. Jess, can I ask you something? And I need you to be completely honest with me. Of course. If your sister called you at 2 a.m. with a medical emergency, would you help? Yes. Even if it was inconvenient? Yes. Even if you had something important the next day? Emma, there's nothing more important than family in actual crisis. A business pitch can be rescheduled. A deposition can be continued. Sleep can be caught up on. But your niece potentially having a ruptured appendix. That's not something you say no to. I nodded slowly. That's what I thought. I thought I was crazy for being upset. You're not crazy. What they did was wrong. Lily stirred in her bed and opened her eyes. Mommy? Who's that? This is my friend Jessica. She came to visit you. Hi Lily, Jessica said, moving to the bedside. I heard you were very brave today. I had surgery, Lily said seriously. The doctors took out my appendix because it was bad. That is very impressive. I've never had surgery. It hurt a lot, but now it hurts less. Do you want to see my scar? Jessica looked at me. I nodded. Lily was very proud of her scar. I would be honored to see your scar, Jessica said. They spent the next hour talking while I just watched. Jessica treated Lily like a person, asking her about her favorite books and her stuffed animals and what she wanted to be when she grew up. Lily, who was usually shy with strangers, chattered away like they'd known each other forever. At 4 p.m., my phone rang. It was my mother. Emma. We're back home. How's Lily? She's fine, Mom. She's in the hospital for observation. Oh, you're still there. I thought she'd be home by now. They want to monitor her overnight to make sure there are no complications. Well, that seems excessive, but I suppose they know what they're doing. Do you want us to come visit? I looked at Jessica, who was currently helping Lily pick out a movie to watch on the hospital iPad. No, Mom. We're fine. Are you sure? We could bring her some balloons or something. We're good. Thanks though. Okay. Well, call us if you need anything. Oh, Emma, you should have heard Lucas's pitch. The investors were so impressed. They're talking about a $3 million Series A round. Can you believe it? Our Lucas, entrepreneur extraordinaire. That's great, Mom. We're so proud of him. Anyway, give Lily our love. We'll try to visit this weekend if we have time. She hung up. Jessica raised an eyebrow. They'll try to visit this weekend. If they have time. Emma. I know. No, I don't think you do know. What they did wasn't okay. What they're doing right now isn't okay. You almost lost your daughter last night because they wouldn't help you. But I didn't lose her. But you could have. If you'd waited until morning like your mom told you to. If you hadn't gotten her to the ER when you did. I felt something crack open inside my chest. I don't know what to do with that information, Jess. You don't have to do anything with it right now. Just let yourself feel it. Let yourself be angry about it. You're allowed to be angry. Marcus came back at 6 p.m. with Tyler, who launched himself at me and then froze when he saw Lily in the hospital bed. Sissy sick, he said, his little voice worried. Sissy was sick, but the doctors made her better. She's going to be okay. Tyler climbed up on the bed carefully and patted Lily's hand. All better, he announced. Jessica stayed until visiting hours ended at 8 p.m. Before she left, she hugged me tight. I'm staying at that hotel down the street. Room 412. Text me if you need anything, and I mean anything. Even if it's just to talk. I'm not going back to Denver until I know you're all settled. Jess, you've already done so much. Emma, stop. Let me be here for you. Please. After she left, Marcus settled into the chair next to Lily's bed. I like her, he said. Me too. She dropped everything to help us. She flew across the country in the middle of the night. I know. Your mom lives an hour away and she couldn't be bothered. I know. Emma, we need to talk about your family. I know that too. But we didn't talk about it that night. We just focused on Lily, making sure she was comfortable, helping her sip water, holding her hand when she had pain. The nursing staff was wonderful, checking on her every few hours, adjusting her medication, making sure she was okay. At 11 p.m., when Lily was finally sleeping soundly, Marcus said quietly, "Did you know that your parents have been staying at Lucas's condo most weekends for the past 6 months?" I looked up from my phone. What? Lucas mentioned it at Christmas. Said Mom and Dad come up to Portland almost every weekend to hang out with him. They go to his climbing gym, watch his kickball games, help him paint his condo, that kind of stuff. They haven't visited us in 4 months. I know. They live an hour away. I know. I felt tears starting again. What did I do wrong, Marcus? Why don't they care about me the same way they care about Lucas and Victoria? You didn't do anything wrong. They're not good parents, Em. They're selfish. They always have been. But they're my parents. I know, baby. I know. We brought Lily home the next afternoon. Jessica was at our apartment when we got there, having somehow managed to clean the entire place, do all our laundry, stock our fridge with groceries, and set up a welcome home station for Lily with balloons and her favorite books. Jess, I said, looking around at everything. You didn't have to do all this. I wanted to. You've got enough on your plate. Let me help with the little things. She stayed for 3 more days, helping with Tyler while I focused on Lily's recovery, cooking meals, doing dishes, being there. Just being there. On her last night, we sat on my couch after both kids were in bed, drinking wine and finally catching up on 4 years of life. I'm sorry I disappeared, I said. I'm sorry I wasn't a better friend. Emma, stop apologizing. Life happens. You had babies. You were busy. I was busy. It's fine. It's not fine. You flew across the country for me, and I hadn't even called you in years. You called me when you needed me. That's all that matters. I should have called you before I needed you, then call me now. Call me once a week. FaceTime me. Let me be part of your life again. If you want that, I want that so much, then we're good. We sat in comfortable silence for a moment before Jessica said, "Can I say something that might be hard to hear?" Yeah. Your family is never going to be what you need them to be. They're never going to be the parents and siblings you deserve. And I think you keep hoping that if you just try hard enough, if you just love them enough, if you just need them at the right moment, they'll finally show up for you. But they won't. They've shown you who they are over and over again. At some point, you have to believe them. I was crying before she even finished. I just want them to love me the way they love Lucas. I know. And I'm so sorry that they don't. But Emma, you have people who do love you that much. Marcus worships you. Your kids adore you. Diane would do anything for you if she could. And I'm here. I'm always going to be here. Even though I was a terrible friend, you weren't terrible. You were overwhelmed. There's a difference. And now we're back in each other's lives, and we're going to stay that way. Okay? Okay. After Jessica left the next morning, promising to visit again soon, I sat down at my computer and did something I should have done years ago. I pulled up my bank statements and credit card records and I started calculating. 5 years ago, Lucas had needed a car to get to his new job. Dad's credit was bad from some poor financial decisions, so Lucas asked if I could co-sign. I did. Lucas promised he'd make all the payments himself. After 6 months, he stopped paying. Rather than let it destroy my credit, I took over the payments. That was $35,000. 4 years ago, Victoria was buying her condo and needed help with the down payment. She asked to borrow $80,000, promising to pay me back within 2 years when her student loans were paid off. She never paid back a penny. When I'd asked about it, she said she'd assumed it was a gift. $80,000. 3 years ago, my parents nearly lost their house because Dad had gotten behind on property taxes. They needed $18,000 to avoid foreclosure. I pulled from our emergency fund and gave it to them. They promised to pay me back. They never did. Yuan Batian Mei Yuan. 2 years ago, Lucas needed $15,000 for his app development startup. I gave it to him as an investment. The app never launched. $15,000. There were smaller things too. The $500 here, and $1,000 there to cover Mom's car repairs, Dad's medical bills, Victoria's emergency vet visit, Lucas's security deposit, at least another $10,000 in smaller loans that were never repaid. I added it all up. $158,000. $158,000 I had given my family over 5 years. Money that Marcus and I could have used for so many things. A bigger house. College funds for the kids. Retirement savings. Vacations. Peace of mind. Instead, I'd given it to family members who couldn't be bothered to drive an hour to help me when my daughter was having emergency surgery. I opened a Google Doc and started writing everything down. Every loan, every gift, every favor, every time I'd shown up and they hadn't. The time I'd helped Lucas move 3 different times, but he'd been too busy to help me even once. The time I'd spent every weekend for a month helping Victoria repaint her condo, but she'd been too exhausted to help with Tyler's first birthday party. I documented everything. Then I called a family meeting. I don't understand why we need to do this over Zoom, Mom said when everyone was on the call. We could have just talked about whatever this is next time we're all together. When's the next time we're all together, Mom? I asked. Christmas? That's 9 months away. Well, we're all busy, Emma. Right. Too busy. Let's talk about that. I shared my screen so they could all see the spreadsheet I'd created. This is a record of every financial transaction between me and this family over the past 5 years. Lucas, you owe me $50,000. Victoria, you owe me $80,000. Mom and Dad, you owe me $28,000. That's $158,000 total. There was silence on the call. I'm not asking you to pay me back, I continued. Consider it all a gift, but I want you to see it. I want you to understand what I've done for this family. While you've all been too busy to help me, I've been funding your lives. Emma, this is really inappropriate, Victoria said. Bringing up old loans. They're not old if they were never repaid. And I'm not done. This is a record of every time I've asked for help and been told no, compared to every time you've asked for help and I've said yes. I shared a second document. It was longer. In the past 5 years, I've helped Lucas move 3 times, driven Mom and Dad to medical appointments 17 times, watched Victoria's dog for a total of 43 days, and driven to Portland 6 times to help with various things. When I've asked for help, I've been told no 28 times. The reasons included book club, yoga class, brunch plans, needing to sleep in, having errands to run, and not feeling like driving. What's your point, Emma? Dad asked, his voice cold. My point is that last week, when I called you at 2 a.m. because my daughter had a potential medical emergency that could have killed her, you told me no because you didn't want to miss Lucas's business pitch. And I want you to understand what that felt like. We explained that we were 3 hours away, Mom said. We couldn't have gotten there in time to help anyway. You could have tried. You could have gotten in the car immediately and driven toward me. You could have shown me that you cared enough to try. Instead, you told me I was being dramatic and hung up on me. You are being dramatic, Victoria said. Right now, actually, Lily is fine. Everything worked out. Everything worked out because Jessica flew from Denver at 3 a.m. to help me. Not because of anything any of you did. Who's Jessica? Lucas asked, speaking for the first time. My college roommate. Someone I hadn't talked to in 4 years. She dropped everything and spent $800 on a last-minute plane ticket to come help me with kids she'd never met. Meanwhile, my own mother, who lives an hour away, couldn't be bothered. Emma, that's not fair, Mom said. You're making us sound like monsters. I'm making you sound like exactly what you are. People who only care about me when it's convenient for you. That's not true. We love you. No, you love Lucas. You occasionally tolerate me. There's a difference. Emma, that's enough, Dad said sharply. You're being hurtful and disrespectful. I'm being honest. Finally. And here's the rest of the honesty. I'm done. I'm done lending money I'll never see again. I'm done being the one who shows up when nobody shows up for me. I'm done trying to earn love from people who have already decided I'm not worth loving as much as my siblings. You're seriously cutting us off over one incident? Victoria asked. Because we couldn't help you one time. It wasn't one time. It was the time that made me finally see the pattern. And yes, I'm cutting you off. Or at least I'm setting boundaries. Here's what those look like. I will not be lending any more money to anyone in this family. I will not be providing free labor or childcare or help unless it's reciprocated. I will not be making myself available to you unless you start making yourselves available to me. And I will not be attending family events where I'm expected to play the role of supportive daughter and sister while receiving nothing in return. Emma, you're being ridiculous, Lucas said. So we couldn't help with one emergency. That doesn't mean we don't care about you. Then when do you care about me, Lucas? When have you ever shown up for me? When have you ever done anything that wasn't about what I could do for you? He didn't answer. That's what I thought. I'm done with this call. If any of you want to have a relationship with me going forward, it's going to be on my terms. Which means actually putting in effort. Actually showing up. Actually treating me like I matter. I ended the call. Marcus, who'd been sitting next to me the whole time, pulled me into his arms. I'm so proud of you, he said. They're going to hate me. They already didn't treat you well. What's the difference? He had a point. My phone started ringing immediately. Mom, Dad, Victoria, Lucas, all calling separately. I declined all the calls and turned off my phone. Jessica called on my laptop instead. Marcus texted me. Are you okay? I think so. I just blew up my entire family. Good. They deserved it. Jess, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm the problem? Emma, listen to me. You flew me out here to help with an emergency. You put your daughter in the hospital because you listened to medical advice instead of your mother telling you to wait. You've spent 5 years being the family backbone while they've been taking advantage of you. You're not wrong. You're finally standing up for yourself. It feels terrible. That's because you've been conditioned to feel guilty for having needs. But you shouldn't. You deserve people who show up for you, the way you show up for them. Over the next few weeks, the messages came in waves. Mom, I can't believe you spoke to us that way. We raised you better than that. Victoria, you're tearing this family apart over nothing. Lily is fine, get over it. Lucas, I don't know why you're so mad at me. I didn't even do anything. Dad, your mother is very upset. I hope you're happy. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I focused on my real family, Marcus, who started taking over more household duties so I could process everything. Tyler and Lily, who were too young to understand what was happening but sensed that mommy needed extra hugs. Jessica, who called every Sunday night to check in. And Diane, Marcus's mom, who called me one day in tears. Emma, Marcus told me what happened with your family. I'm so sorry I couldn't be there to help. If I hadn't just had surgery. Diane, stop. You've always been there for me. Always. You send the kids birthday presents. You remember their favorite foods. You ask about my job and actually listen to the answers. You FaceTime just to say hi. You're more of a mother to me than my own mother has ever been. Well, you're the daughter I always wanted, she said, her voice breaking. I'm so glad Marcus married you. And I'm sorry your own family doesn't see what a gift you are. After that call, I cried for an hour. 2 months after the hospital incident, my parents called a family meeting. The irony wasn't lost on me. We've been talking, Mom said, once everyone was on Zoom again. And we think you owe us an apology. I almost laughed. An apology? Yes. For the way you spoke to us. For the accusations you made. For embarrassing us. What exactly do you think I should apologize for? For being disrespectful. For throwing our generosity back in our faces. For making us look like bad parents. I didn't make you look like bad parents. You are bad parents. At least to me. Emma. Dad's voice was sharp. That's exactly the kind of thing we're talking about. You want me to apologize? Fine. I'm sorry that I finally stood up for myself. I'm sorry that I stopped letting you walk all over me. I'm sorry that I pointed out patterns of behavior that made you uncomfortable. Is that what you wanted to hear? We want you to take it back, Victoria said. All of it. Admit that you were overreacting. I wasn't overreacting. I was finally reacting appropriately to years of mistreatment. Nobody mistreated you, Lucas said. You're being paranoid. Lucas, name 3 things you know about my life. 3 things that don't involve you or what I can do for you. Silence. You can't, can you? Because you don't actually know me. None of you do. You don't know what my job is, what my hobbies are, what my struggles are. You know I exist to help you, but you don't know who I am. That's not true, Mom said weakly. Mom, what's my favorite color? Blue? It's purple. It's been purple since I was 8 years old. What's my job title? You work in something with computers? I'm a project manager for a software company. I've had that job for 6 years. You've never asked about it once. When's my anniversary? She didn't answer. It's June 14th. Lily's birthday? October. April. April 3rd. Tyler's birthday? September. November. November 22nd. You don't know anything about me, Mom. None of you do. Because you've never bothered to learn. That's not fair, Dad said. We're busy people. We can't remember every little detail. These aren't little details. These are basic facts about your daughter and grandchildren. And the fact that you don't know them proves my point. I took a breath. Here's what I know about all of you. Victoria, your favorite wine is Pinot Grigio from that vineyard in Oregon. You're working toward making partner at your firm. Your dog's name is Senator, and you're allergic to shellfish. Lucas, you're developing an app for fitness tracking. You rock climb every Tuesday and Thursday. Your college girlfriend was named Sarah, and you broke your arm skateboarding when you were 12. Mom, your book club meets the second Thursday of every month. You volunteer at the library on Saturdays. Your favorite flowers are peonies, and you met Dad at a college football game. Dad, you play golf every Sunday morning. You're working on restoring a vintage Mustang. You have a scar on your knee from a skiing accident, and your favorite movie is The Godfather. I paused. I know all of that because I pay attention to you. I listen when you talk. I remember things you tell me. I care about your lives. When have any of you ever done that for me? Nobody answered. That's what I thought. So no, I'm not apologizing. I'm not taking anything back. And I'm not pretending that everything is fine. It's not fine. It hasn't been fine. And I'm done pretending it is. So what do you want from us? Victoria demanded. I want you to do better. I want you to show up. I want you to actually be part of my life instead of expecting me to just be part of yours when convenient. I want you to treat me like I matter. And if we don't? Lucas asked. Then we don't have a relationship. It's that simple. You can't be serious, Mom said. You'd really cut us out of your life completely. I'd rather have no family than a family that doesn't value me. After that call, things went quiet for a while. No more calls, no more texts, no more demands. It was simultaneously peaceful and heartbreaking. But 3 months later, something changed. Lucas called me. Actually called, not texted. Hey, he said when I answered, suspicious. I'm in Seattle for a conference this weekend. Can I take you to lunch? Why? Because I want to talk to you. Face to face. Please. I almost said no. But something in his voice made me agree. We met at a cafe near my office. Lucas showed up 10 minutes early, which shocked me. Lucas was never early. Thanks for coming, he said, once we were settled with coffee. What do you want, Lucas? I want to apologize. I stared at him. What? You were right. About everything. I've been a terrible brother. I've used you. I've taken you for granted. I've treated you like a bank account instead of a person. And I'm sorry. I didn't know what to say. I didn't realize how bad it was until you laid it all out. And even then, I wanted to defend myself. But then I started really thinking about it. And Emma, I couldn't name 3 things about your life. I tried. I couldn't do it. I didn't know your job, your anniversary, your kids' birthdays. I didn't know anything. He looked genuinely ashamed. And that's on me. That's my fault. I've been so focused on my own life, my own goals, my own stuff, that I completely neglected you. And you've been there for me every time I needed you, and I've never once returned the favor. No, you haven't. I know. And I can't undo that. But I want to do better, if you'll let me. What does that look like to you? Doing better? I don't know. I guess. Actually asking about your life? Remembering important things? Showing up when you need me? Not just calling when I need money? That would be a start. I know I don't deserve another chance. I know I've been awful. But I'm asking for one anyway. Because you're my sister. And I love you, and I don't want to lose you. I felt tears starting. Lucas, do you have any idea how long I've waited to hear you say something like that? Too long. Way too long. We talked for 2 hours. Really talked, for maybe the first time in our adult lives. I told him about my job, my struggles with work-life balance, my friendships, my marriage. He told me about his fears that his company would fail, his anxiety about living up to mom and dad's expectations, his loneliness. They call me every day, he admitted. Mom and dad. They want to know everything about the business. Every meeting, every decision, every metric. It's exhausting. Sometimes I feel like I'm not their son. I'm their project. That's because you are, I said gently. Lucas, they're living vicariously through you. They've pinned all their hopes on you being successful because they feel like they weren't. It's not healthy for any of you. I never thought about it like that. That's what happens when you're the golden child. You don't realize you're in a cage because it's a pretty cage. He sat with that for a moment. What about Victoria? Was she like this too? I don't know. She hasn't called me. She won't. Victoria is. Victoria. She doesn't do apologies. I noticed. Before we left, Lucas pulled out his phone. What are your kids' birthdays again? I want to put them in my calendar, with reminders. I told him. He entered them carefully, along with my anniversary and my birthday. I'm going to do better, he said. I promise. I hope so, Lucas. I really do. He did do better. Not perfectly, but noticeably. He started texting me every couple weeks just to check in. He sent Lily and Tyler birthday presents. He even offered to babysit one weekend when Marcus and I wanted to go to dinner and then actually followed through. Mom and Dad took longer. 6 months after the hospital incident, they showed up at my door unannounced. We want to talk, Mom said. I let them in, but I didn't make them comfortable. We sat in the living room and I waited. We've been talking to a therapist, Dad said finally. About our family dynamics. About you. Okay. She helped us see some things we'd been doing. Ways we'd been treating you differently from your siblings. Like what? I asked. Because I needed to hear them say it. Like prioritizing Lucas's needs over yours, Mom said quietly. Like not being there when you needed us. Like taking your help for granted. Like refusing to help during Lily's emergency, I added. Mom's eyes filled with tears. That was the worst thing we've ever done. Emma. We were wrong. So wrong. We should have gotten in the car immediately. We should have been there. Why weren't you? Because we thought Lucas's pitch was more important. Because we've spent so long building him up that we forgot we had another daughter who needed us too. Because we're not very good parents, and we're sorry. I felt something loosen in my chest, but I didn't let myself get too hopeful. What changed? Why now? Lucas talked to us, Dad said. He told us about your lunch. He said we needed to wake up before we lost you completely. And then the therapist helped us see that we'd been treating you like the responsible one who didn't need help, while treating your siblings like they couldn't function without us. That's exactly what you've been doing. We know. And we want to change. If you'll let us. What does that look like? Over the next hour, They outlined what they called a family reset. They wanted to start having regular dinners where everyone actually talked to each other. They wanted to make an effort to know their grandchildren better. They wanted to stop giving money to Lucas and Victoria without asking me if I needed help too. They wanted to be better. I want to believe you, I said finally. But I need to see action, not just words. I need you to show me consistently that you're actually changing. We will, Mom promised. However long it takes. It's been a year now since that night in the hospital. Things aren't perfect with my family, but they're better. Mom and Dad drive out every other Sunday for dinner. They actually ask about my life. They remember the kids' names. They stopped sending Lucas money when his startup needed just a little more funding, and instead offered to match whatever he could raise himself. They're trying. Victoria still hasn't apologized. She's still Victoria, self-absorbed, busy, convinced she's always right. But she did send Lily a get-well present after the surgery, 6 months late. It's something. Lucas has become someone I actually talk to regularly. He calls every Sunday night after the kids are in bed. He remembers birthdays. He babysits when we need him. He's trying to be a better brother, and I can see the effort. But the real family, the one I've built, is stronger than ever. Jessica visits every few months. Tyler calls her Aunt Jess. Lily made her a drawing that says, "Thank you for saving my life," which isn't quite accurate but makes Jessica cry every time she looks at it. Diane recovered from her surgery and now comes over every Tuesday for Grandma Day. She takes the kids to the park, helps with dinner, asks me about my day. And Marcus, who has always been my rock, tells me daily that he's proud of me for setting boundaries. I still think about that night sometimes. The panic, the fear, the feeling of being abandoned by the people who were supposed to love me most. But I also think about Jessica boarding a plane at 3 a.m. I think about Diane sending care packages. I think about Marcus holding my hand. I think about Lucas actually showing up to Lily's birthday party this year. Family isn't just about blood. It's about who shows up. Who cares? Who tries? And I finally have the family I deserve.